approaching on the road through Atharim. So he attacked the Israelites and took some of them as prisoners. Then the people of Israel made this vow to the Lord: if you will hand these people over to us, we will completely destroy all their towns. The Lord heard the Israelites' request and gave them victory over the Canaanites. Wow, it's just like that. They just ask the Lord and boom, answer the prayer. The Israelites completely destroyed them and their towns. I didn't mean to do that. My bad, y'all. Hit that tab button. Jumping ahead. Scroll. The Israelites completely destroyed them and their towns, and the place has been called Hormah ever since. Let's see, what does Hormah mean? Hormah meaning. Hormah, also known as by its Canaanite name Zephath, is an unidentified city mentioned in the Hebrew Bible in relation to several conflicts between the migrant Israelite people seeking to enter their promised land. It means banning or devoted to destruction. Okay. Alright, back to the word. The bronze snake. Hey, look at those mamba colors, green and purple. Then the people of Israel set out from Mount Hor. I'm talking, if you only know what I'm talking about if you're watching on YouTube. For the podcast listeners, you have no clue what I'm talking about. Alright. Just imagine highlights in green and purple on the screen. Alright, what in the world is going on here? Boom. Alright. Let me get rid of F11. Let's get rid of that bar at the bottom. There you go. Alright. The bronze snake, the bronze boa. Verse 4. Then the people of Israel set out from Mount Hor, taking the road to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. As y'all recall, they had to go a different route because the Edomites wouldn't let them cross their land. So they had to go around. So isn't it wild that they didn't ask God to make the Edomites let them pass through, but they asked God to give them victory over these Canaanites? Let's just keep going. Just making an observation. Alright, then the people of Israel set out from Mount Hor, taking the road to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. But the people grew impatient with the long journey, and they began to speak against God. I ran into that recently. I was driving a young lady and we got stuck by a train. So I went all the way around this longer route to Kansas Avenue. And then by the time once I arrived on the other side of the tracks, boom, I saw that the train had moved. And literally all it did was move a few feet to stop blocking the road. Why didn't y'all do that when I was sitting here? So who knows what's quicker I would have gotten there if I had just waited for the train to move. But I wasn't taking that chance. Alright. I've heard stories of that train sometimes taking 3 hours to move. Alright, anyway, it's a train that's over in KCK area, in the industrial part near Kansas Avenue and Highway 70, I guess, 70 West. Alright, then the people of Israel set out from Mount Hor, taking the road to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. But the people grew impatient with the long journey. Let me highlight that too. How many times have you been impatient with the long journey of your life? The journey to a spouse, So you went and took matters in your own hands and like, you know what, God, I got an itch. I got an itch. I need to scratch it. So I'm about to hook up with this person tonight, only to afterward feel dirty and nasty and hurt because the person didn't call you back or was acting funny afterward. They sure acted like how they loved you and thought you were the greatest person in the world leading up to, you know, having relations. Then all of a sudden afterward, they got what they wanted. They got they itch scratched and they don't need you no more. You were just a tool. I've been on both sides of that. Anyway, the user and the one being used. So watch the seeds that you sow. But yeah, whatever. Some of y'all, that's not your thing. You weren't promiscuous. But let's say, I don't know, something to do with like making some money. You know, God said, you know, stay at your job, be faithful, you know, be respectful to your boss, whatever. You're like, nah, forget that. I'm quitting. I quit. Quit the job. And it's all just blows up in your face. Man, I should have kept my job. Or, you know, let's see, there's another example. We'll just use an example from my ancestors in the whole classic story of Abraham and Sarah. How God promised them a child. And they're like, Sarah's like, I'm old. Like, there's no way I'm going to have a baby. Why don't you, Abraham? There's no way I'm going to be able to give you an heir, not out of this body. So why don't you go sleep with my handmaiden, Miss Hagar over there. He sleeps with her. Abraham's like, okay. Sleeps with her. Gets her pregnant. And they have a child named Ishmael. Which is all the descendants that we see, all the issues we got going on in the Middle East are descendants of Ishmael and Esau, all them jokers. Anyway, y'all go look up all the history behind that. But yes, if they had just waited, God was sending them Isaac. Anyway, whatever your journey is, the Bible has some like consistent primary themes and motifs and reoccurring, things that just keep happening that God talks about. And one of those biggest things is patience. Waiting on the Lord, consulting the Lord, not trying to make big decisions without Him. Kind of like in a marriage, I've done that before. A lot of marriages, like wise marriages, people that are still married, neither spouse makes like huge decisions without talking to the other one. Even like, I remember when I was married, we talked about like not buying stuff that's over $50 without talking to each other. Or like, but there was multiple times I like bought a car one time without really having that talk with my spouse. Or when I quit my job that was paying me like $80K without talking to her. And it blindsided her. Just stuff like that. With God, he's similar. He wants us to consult Him. Now, some folks, they ask God for every little thing. Like, what socks should I wear today, God? Like, if that's your thing, use wisdom, use discretion. God is kind of funny, like, even for people like that who ask God for every little thing, like, what socks should I wear? Like, He has a way of, like, I feel like playing along with, like, humoring us, but, like, stopping for every little thing, like, God, should I eat this? Should I shower now? Should I brush my teeth now? I kind of wonder how different life would be if we did that. Like, before every little thing you did, you asked God for, should you do it or not? Some folks, some Christians say that's not wise or that's overkill, and other Christians be like, this has transformed my life. It's kept me out of a lot of trouble. I've heard stories of people feeling like God told them not to go to work that day, and they ended up dodging a bullet, literally, or dodging the whole 9/11 attacks, things like that. So, what am I trying to say here? Yes, patience. The Bible is full of stories of being patient and acknowledging the Lord in all that we do. At least, definitely the major decisions. All right. But the people grew impatient with the long journey. Verse 5, and they began to speak against God and Moses. Why have you brought us out of Egypt to die here in the wilderness? They complained. There is nothing to eat here and nothing to drink, and we hate this horrible manna. Haven't they learned anything from all that complaining? Nope. All right, verse 6. Let me take a drink of water. So the Lord sent poisonous snakes. Verse 6. So the Lord sent poisonous snakes among the people, and many were bitten and died. A boa is a poisonous snake. They have apparently tons of them down in South America. Then the people came to Moses and cried, we have sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take away the snakes. So Moses prayed for the people. Another example of intercession. What are the snakes in your life? For some of us, snake might be lust, fornication, pornography. Some of us, it might be gluttony, food addictions. Others, the snakes in our life might be debt, financial, just anything that will like rob you from experiencing the fullness of everything that God wants to do in your life, the abundant life. Things that could ultimately kill you, spiritually and physically. All right, let's keep going. Unforgiveness, bitter, like we don't even think about that. The snake of unforgiveness, bitterness. A lot of things that we hold inside they lead to ulcers, they lead to cancers, all kinds of diseases. All right, and then the Lord told him, make a replica of a poisonous snake and attach it to a pole. All who are bitten will live if they simply look at it. So Moses made a snake out of bronze and attached it to a pole. Then anyone who was bitten by a snake could look at the bronze snake and be healed. Now this is what's wild. Like people, this is how I talk. This is what I mean by an example of how the United States is a Christian nation. It was founded based on Christian principles. That's the best way to say it. And here's an example right here. Numbers 21. If you look at pretty much every ambulance I've ever seen in hospital, even the doctors, they wear pins, or they might have a little logo on their doctor's coat of a snake, a bronze snake. Yeah, but ambulances, they have those. The bronze snakes. And boom, it points to numbers. I don't know who was the first person to think like, oh, let's put this on all the different ambulances. This snake wrapped around a pole. But boom, Numbers 21. The This is where it originally comes from. So yeah, Moses made a snake out of bronze and attached it to a pole. Then anyone who was bitten by a snake could look at the bronze snake and be healed. Israel's journey to Moab. The Israelites travel next to Oboth. Hold on a second, y'all. I need to turn this particular light off. It's causing my left eye to strain a little bit. Alright, the Israelites traveled to next to Oboth and camped there, and then they went on, let me just go back for a second. Israel's journey to Moab, verse 10. The Israelites traveled next to Oboth and camped there. Then they went on to Libaram in the wilderness on the eastern border of Moab. From there they traveled to the valley of Zered Brook and set up camp. Then they moved out and camped on the far side of the Arnon River in the wilderness, adjacent to the territory of the Amorites. The Arnon is the boundary line between the Moabites and the Amorites. For this reason, the book of the wars of the Lord speaks of the town of Waheb and the area of Suphah, and the ravines of the Arnon River, and the ravines that extend as far as the settlement of Ar on the border of Moab. Let me change this highlight. Verse 16. From there, the Israelites traveled to Beer. Interesting. Not like actual beer. It's just what it was called. The city. A city named after beer. Or named beer. Not after beer, but not the alcoholic drink. Anyway. It's an easy one to remember. Which is the well where the Lord said to Moses, assemble the people and I will give them water. I wonder if that well tasted made them kind of drunk. Had an alcoholic fermentation to it. Nah, I'm assuming not so. There, I will give them water. There, the Israelites sang this song. Spring up, O well. Yes, sing its praises. Sing of this well, which princes dug, which great leaders hollowed out with their scepters and staffs. Then the Israelites left the wilderness and proceeded on through Mattanah, Nahalil, and Bamoth. After that, they went to the valley in Moab, where Pisgah Peak overlooks the wasteland. That's a very interesting name, Pisgah Peak. Not Pikes Peak, Pisgah Peak. Pikachu. Victory over Sihon and Og. The Israelites sent ambassadors to King Sihon of the Amorites with this message. Let us travel through your land. We will be careful not to go through your fields and vineyards. We won't even drink water from your wells. We will stay on the king's road until we have passed through your territory. Now this sounds just like something that they said earlier to the Edomites. Now they're saying it to the Amorites. It's like they copy and pasted the last message. I wonder if they used ChatGPT. Was it around back then? No, I guess I doubt it. What was the ChatGPT of whatever year that was before Christ, BC? Anyway, verse 23. But King Sihon refused to let them cross his territory. Instead, he mobilized his entire army and attacked Israel in the wilderness, engaging them in battle at Jahaz. See, isn't this interesting? If they had just waited on the Lord, right, and asked for his help and said, Lord, can you help us? These Edomites won't let us cross through. Would they have been attacked by that last army we just heard about? Can't remember the name of it. The Canaanites, yeah. Would they have been attacked by the Canaanites? And then would they have been attacked by this dude, King Sihon? It's almost like when we don't consult God and we take matters in our own hands, it leads us down these longer roads full of all these other issues. And they dealing with Canaanites, they're dealing with poisonous snakes. Now they're dealing with these Amorites. Anyway, let's keep going. But the Israelites, I don't know about y'all, but I can testify to time after time after time of trying to do things on my own without asking God. And He's gracious. It's like, man. Anyway. It's like a domino effect. One bad decision leads to another bad decision, leads to another bad decision, leads to another bad decision, leads to another bad decision. That's why there's safety in the multitude of counselors. Godly counselors, not just anybody. Because, anyway, all right, let's keep going. But King Sihon refused to let them cross his territory. Instead, he mobilized his entire army and attacked Israel in the wilderness, engaging them in battle at Jahaz. But the Israelites slaughtered them with their swords and occupied their land from the Arnon River to the Jabbok River. They went only as far as the Ammonite border because the boundary of the Ammonites was fortified. So, even in our dumb decisions, God can still use it for His glory and to flex His muscles to show His power to other nations. Verse 25, so Israel captured all the towns of the Amorites and settled in them, including the city of Heshbon and its surrounding villages. Verse 26, Heshbon had been the capital of King Sihon of the Amorites. He had defeated a former Moabite king and seized all his land as far as the Arnon River. Therefore, the ancient poets wrote this about him. Come to Heshbon and let it be rebuilt. Let the city of Sihon be restored. A fire flamed forth from Heshbon, a blaze from the city of Sihon. It burned the city of Ar in Moab. It destroyed the rulers of the Arnon heights. What sorrow awaits you, O people of Moab? You are finished, O worshippers of Chemosh. Chemosh has left his sons as refugees, his daughters as captives of Sihon, the Amorite king. We have utterly destroyed them from Heshbon to Dibon, or Dibon. We have completely wiped them out as far away as Nophah and Medeba. Verse 31, so the people of Israel occupied the territory of the Amorites. After Moses sent men to explore the Jazer area, they captured all the towns in the region and drove out the Amorites who lived there. Then they turned and marched up the road to Bashan, but King Og of Bashan and all his people attacked them at Edrei. The Lord said to Moses, do not be afraid of him, for I have handed him over to you, along with all his people in his land. Do the same to him as you did to King Sihon of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon. And Israel killed King Og, his sons, and all his subjects. Not a single survivor remained. Then Israel occupied their land. Another example of God telling his people not to be afraid. Alright, I think I'm going to do one more chapter, then we'll be done, at least for now. Alright, BRB. All right, welcome back to True the Bible. We're now in Numbers chapter 20, region, and drove out the Amorites who lived there. Then they turned and marched up the 21, Numbers chapter 21. And I titled this The Bronze Boa, like boa constrictor. But I just want to clarify, I don't know what kind of snake we're going to be talking about here shortly. All I know is it was a snake. But I just figured bronze boa sounded cool. So I thought about saying it bronze mamba, but I like the alliteration of